The Lord be with you. Let us pray. Lord, have mercy upon us. Lord, have mercy upon us. Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory, forever and ever. Amen. Almighty God, who in thy wisdom and goodness hast appointed the office of rulers and parliaments for the welfare of society and the just government of men and women, we beseech thee to behold with thy abundant favor us, thy servants, whom thou hast been pleased to call to the performance of important trusts in these islands. That thy blessing descend upon us here assembled, and grant that we may treat and consider all matters that shall come under our deliberation in so just and faithful a manner as to promote thy honor and glory, and to advance the peace, prosperity, and welfare of these islands and those whose interests thou hast committed to our charge. And this we beg for Jesus Christ's sake. Amen. May the grace of our Lord Jesus Christ and the love of God and the fellowship of the Holy Spirit be with us all evermore. Amen.
Can be seated. Members, okay, members, we have confirmation of minutes. The minutes of May the 9th and the minutes of May 12th are deferred. Messages from the governor, there are none. Announcement by the speaker or presiding member. There are apologies coming from the premier, the actual speaker himself, from Jason Haywood, from member Leroy Bean, from Deputy Premier De Silva, and I also understand that member Robin Taka is unable to join us because she has suffered an accident, and hopefully she recovers from that speedily. Messages from the Senate, there are none. Papers and communications to the House, there are none. Petitions, there are none. Statements by ministers and junior ministers. I call on the member, the Honorable Minister Weeks.
Good morning, Madam Acting Speaker, colleagues, and those in listening audience. Madam Speaker, I want to thank those in this House and the listening audience for lending me their ear this morning. Madam Speaker, I come before you not just as a public servant, but as a community member, a neighbor, a parent, a brother, an uncle, and a friend. Like you, Madam Speaker, I love this country. I love my people. I believe in our potential, and I know deep in my heart that we are better than the senseless violence that threatens to tear us apart. Today, Madam Speaker, I want to speak to you plainly and from the heart, because this is not just another speech. This is a call to action, a call for courage, a call to our collective conscience. Madam Deputy Speaker, we must decide together, right here and right now, who we are and for what we are going to stand. I am pleading to all of us with these simple but powerful 6 words: stand up, speak up, save lives. Madam Deputy Speaker, let me begin with a truth that we all know, but sometimes hesitate to say out loud. Violent crime is hurting Bermuda. Physical violence, gun violence, stabbings, assaults, these are not abstract problems. These are not distant headlines. They are tragedies unfolding in our own backyards, in our own families, in our own communities, sometimes right next door. And they are rendering us asunder. They are tearing at our moral fiber, our character, and our identity as a people. Madam Deputy Speaker, each act of violence is a wound on our national soul. Each life lost is not just a number, but a name, a son, a daughter, a brother, a cousin, a friend. Some of them were bright lights in their communities. Some were trying to turn their lives around. Some were simply in the wrong place at the wrong time. And yes, some may have been caught up in the game, but all of them had value. All of them, Madam Deputy, deserve the future. The hardest part to accept in all this is that in virtually every incident that blights our community, someone knows who did it. Someone saw something. Someone heard something. Someone has a piece of the puzzle that could bring justice to a grieving family. But too often, that someone stays silent, and in doing so, they are actively aiding and abetting this heinous and destructive behavior. Why? Perhaps because of fear, maybe because of distrust, or maybe they just do not care, or because of a culture that has over time told us that it is safer to look the other way. Madam Deputy Speaker, I understand that fear is real, but today I want to say clearly and with every ounce of compassion in my body, Bermuda, our silence is costing lives. The first step, Mr. Speaker, that we must take is to stand up. Standing up means refusing to accept violence as just the way things are. It means saying, not in my neighborhood, not in my school, not in my home, and not on my watch. Madam Deputy, we have to stand up for our youth, many of whom are being lured into dangerous paths before they ever get a fair shot at life. We must stand up for the mothers burying their sons, for the children growing up without fathers, for the innocent bystanders caught in the crossfire. Standing up means showing that we are not afraid to say that enough is really enough. Standing up also means standing with each other. We must stand up as a community, united, not divided by fear or frustration. When we see a young man drifting towards the streets, we intervene and offer assistance or guidance. When we see a young woman being lured into gang life, we pull her back by pointing her in a positive direction. When someone is in danger, we do not wait for the authorities. We become our brothers and sisters' keeper. Do not get me wrong, Madam Deputy Speaker. This is not about vigilante justice. This is about community strength. This is about reclaiming the streets, the schools, the parks, the corners, and our peace and security. Madam Deputy Speaker, we must speak up. Yes, the second step is to speak up. This is perhaps the hardest part because speaking up requires courage. It requires trust. It requires faith that our voice will matter and that it will be protected. But let me tell you this, Madam Deputy Speaker. Speaking up is one of the most powerful things that we can do. Every time someone comes forward with information, no matter how small, we move one step closer to solving a crime, one step closer to holding a callous killer accountable, one step closer to preventing the next act of violence. Perhaps one may think that it's not my business, but if someone out there has taken a life, it is my business. And as a matter of fact, and for the record, it is all of our business. So, Madam Deputy Speaker, someone may worry, what if I become a target? But there are safe, anonymous ways to report what you know. We are strengthening our witness protection systems to allow people to freely and safely provide useful information. Madam Deputy, we are also investing in community policing. We are working hard daily to build a system of justice that does not just demand information, but earns trust as well. Our voice could be the difference between another cold case and a family finally getting answers and justice. Our words could help stop the cycle of retaliation and revenge. Our courage could inspire others to come forward as well. Madam Deputy, we cannot build safer communities with silence. We need people to speak up in homes, in our churches, in WhatsApp chats, on social media, at town halls, at our sports clubs, and in our neighbors' yards. Say something, ask questions, share what you know. Madam Deputy Speaker, even a whisper can start a movement. We need to start a movement. We need to do all that we can do to save lives. At the heart of my plea today is for us to work together to put an end to this madness and to save lives. When we stand up and when we speak up, we are not just solving crimes, we are actually preventing them. We are saving the next young man from picking up a gun. We are saving the next family from that knock on the door or phone call that every parent fears. We are saving Bermuda from becoming a place where violence becomes normal. Madam Deputy, we are not there yet, but we must be relentless in preventing this from occurring. I want to remind everyone that justice is not just about punishment. It is about prevention. When someone is held accountable, it sends a message. It tells our youth that there are consequences. It tells our communities that their pain matters. It tells the perpetrators that this community will not protect them in their wrongdoing. And just as importantly, it tells the victim that we see them, we honor them, and we will not forget them. Madam Deputy Speaker, we are not powerless. We are not helpless. We are not alone. We can save lives, not through magic, but through slogans. Not through slogans, but through action. Madam Deputy, the solution is found in community effort. Now let me be clear. I have said this repeatedly and I will say it again here now. This is not just the responsibility of the police. It is not just the job of government. It is not just about laws and sentences. It is about all of us. Teachers and pastors, coaches and neighbors, parents and friends, the people who run barbershops and beauty salons, the elders sitting on the porch, the youth on the block, everyone has a role to play. Madam Deputy, I implore families to talk to their children, as children often know more than we think. Let's listen to them, teach them that it is all right to tell. There is no such thing as a snitch, because telling the truth is always a good thing. We must teach our children about conflict resolution, show them alternatives to violence, support them in their school programs, get them involved in community programs. Let us support rehabilitation and reintegration for those young men or women who are trying to leave a life of violence behind. Hold all our leaders accountable. And yes, if you know something, say something. Madam Deputy, we must build a Bermuda where there is no safe haven for violent criminals, no code of silence that protects murderers, no aiding and abetting those who are physically harming others, and no corner where justice cannot reach. Madam Deputy, let me share a story of hope. Recently, a mother whose son was killed in a sensitive act of violence came forward to me and said, I don't want revenge, Minister. I want justice. I want no other mother to go through what I've gone through. And do you know what gave her strength, Madam Deputy Speaker? It was her community. People who stood up and spoke up, not with anger, but with truth. And because of that, her son's killer was brought to justice. It did not bring her son back, but it brought some peace for her. It helped her to take a step towards healing. That is the power of standing up. That is the power of speaking up. That is the power of saving lives. Madam Deputy Speaker, I send out an urgent call to action to all in this honorable House, to those listening right now to their radios, whether in your car or in your home or in your offices, to those listening right now by way of social media, to families who know that their loved ones are caught up or involved but are afraid to speak up, to those young men and women who want to do more than just talk about what they know in their living rooms or in the halls of their schools, and even to those involved in violent acts who are fed up with a lifestyle of guns and violence and want to change. It is time to come home, as the pastors would say. Put down your weapons and come home. To all of us, we are all tired of these senseless acts of violence, and I know that we have had enough. So, Madam Deputy Speaker and all of Bermuda, I leave you with this, as I shared up at the vigil held at Legends just last week. If you know something, stand up. If you see something, speak up. If you care about Bermuda, let's help save lives. Do not wait for the next tragedy to hit closer to home. Do not wait for the headlines to carry the name of someone that you love. Do not wait until it is too late. So, Madam Deputy Speaker, the silence of those who have information has allowed this problem to grow. But from this moment forward, our voices, united, determined, and fearless, can bring about change. Let's build a Bermuda where children can play without fear, where families can walk the streets in peace and safety, where parents do not have to worry about whether or not their son will return home safely when they leave the house, where we can leave our doors open again and not have to worry. Do any of us remember those times? Where justice is not delayed and truth is not buried in silence. So, Madam Deputy Speaker, we are better than this violence. We are stronger than this fear, and we must not be bystanders in our own story. Again, I implore our people to stand up, speak up, and save lives. Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker.
That takes us to reports of committees. There are none. And now we are at question period. I have one member's name down, and that is Member Keene. Member Keene, did you want to put questions to the minister? I recognize you.
Yes, good morning, Madam Deputy Speaker. I have a couple of questions for the Minister of National Security. Thank you. Understanding that the prevalence of violent crime has increased and the seriousness, the number of incidents, are consultations currently occurring between the AG's chambers and Ministry of National Security about amending sentencing guidelines, in particular the penalties for violent offenses. Would you prefer I put all the questions and then? Okay.
Madam Minister?
Thank you, Madam Acting Speaker. All conversations are being held, that are relevant to where we find ourselves right now in Bermuda. But I want to be clear while I'm on my feet that longer sentences is not going to fix the problem. Corporal punishment is not going to fix the problem. The police are there. This government has done everything we can financially and in other support to help the police do what they need to do to make Bermuda safer. But the key core in making Bermuda safer is not longer sentences. It's the community standing up, speaking up to all of us to work together to save lives.
Okay. Thank you, Minister. Do you have a supplemental question?
I do,
Okay.
Madam Deputy. For clarification, I wasn't necessarily speaking about stronger sentence. What I was speaking about was the appropriate sentences in relation to the seriousness of the offense, as opposed to a blanket, we need to be much, more onerous sentences, et cetera. That's not what I was saying. They need to be appropriate to the seriousness of the offense. But
Yes.
I'll continue on.
Yeah, your supplemental.
Sure. Understanding that we have persons, as the minister has rightly identified, who are silent when they know things about criminals who may be residing with them, or they're creating safe harbor for them. Is there going to be some action on the application of the law as relates, understanding that they have conversations with AG's chambers in terms of harboring of fugitives? Because I know with young persons who've gone missing and they appeal to the public, that I haven't seen anybody brought to justice for that.
Okay, so your question is there going to be some sort of application with respect?
That is
to-
correct.
Okay. Minister?
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. I am certain that there are laws already on the book for harboring criminals and fugitives from justice. So I am certain that if it is ever proven that a citizen is harboring someone that's wanted and proven to be a member of have committed any violent acts, I'm certain that the appropriate law will be applied for anyone that is harboring someone.
You have a second supplemental, or is it a new question?
New question.
Okay, go ahead, member.
Understanding that the prevalence of serious crime has increased, murders due to gun violence and stabbings, is there consideration to gun and bladed weapon amnesty for weapons that cause death? Thank you.
Minister?
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. I want to start off by saying that we have to be careful with the statements we make, because what has been happening these last couple of days has been violent crimes. But to draw the conclusion that violent crime has increased without facts is treading down a road until we have the facts, right? There is a time when we all get on our feet and we all have the mic, and so I have no problem speaking when it's my turn, and then I'm waiting for the next person to take their turn.
Okay.
So while I'm here on my feet, I want to say that we have to be careful when we talk about crime and whatnot, because what we don't want to do is give our communities the wrong impression. There is crime, and there are steps being done by our police service and this government to ensure that we are safe. So let's work together to see what we can do, each one of us, and as a community, to make sure that we do our part to keep Bermuda safe.
Thank you, Minister. Supplemental.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. Understanding that violent crimes have increased and deaths, as reported in government statistics and police statistics, is there a strategic plan with specific performance measures and timelines that will address this problem? Thank you.
That's your
That's my final question. Thank you.
Oh, third question. Okay, thank you. Minister.
We brought an anti-violence strategy to the House, I think at the end of last year, November, December, that addresses where we are as a country and our plan going forward.
Thank you, Minister. Any supplemental?
Supplemental,
Member, I
yes,
recognize.
Deputy Speaker. In terms of the violence reduction strategy, if memory serves me correctly, there were no specific timelines or performance measures as relates to that strategy. Thank you.
Okay, that's just, okay, thank you. Are there any other members who wish? I'm sorry. I recognize Member Campbell because he did indicate that he wished to ask questions.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. I would like to ask the Minister, it's difficult, and I understand that it's extremely difficult to measure the success of the gang violence reduction team. But I would like to ask the Minister if he believes that the team is appropriately resourced.
Thank you. Minister?
The gang violence reduction team is doing a good job in the role that they have to combat violence, and there's always room for more resources, but resources how much resources is enough. We as a community have to do what we got to do.
Thank you, Minister. Is there a supplemental?
No supplemental, thank you.
Any new questions? None? That brings question period to a close. We move on to congrats and or obituaries. I recognize the member from constituency 15. Member, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam Acting Speaker. I'd like to offer a few congrats this morning. First of all, to the BSSF, and that is the sporting body made up of mainly PE teachers, but it is a separate body who hosted and organized the middle school inter-school sports yesterday. I did have the opportunity late in the day to get up and experience the end of the festivities yesterday, and I did catch most of the 4x100 meter relays. So I do want to congratulate all middle school students that were involved, and my colleague here, who formerly was the Minister of Education, will be pleased that I was interested to see that some of the new parish primary schools, their older grades are now participating in this level as well. So it was a sight to see, and everybody wonders, well, what's going to happen with sports? But I want to congratulate them because there were individuals from Purvis Primary School as well as Francis Patton that actually took part with the traditional middle school students yesterday. So congratulations to everyone involved. And I want to highlight the individual winners, the individual group winner, the group winners from the schools. So the overall female winners for middle school inter-school sports was the Salters Grammar School. The overall male winners for middle school inter-school sports was the Whitney Institute Middle School, and this overall school again defending their title was the Salters Grammar School. So congratulations to them. Congratulations to their PE teachers. Many of them I do know well, as you know, Madam Acting Speaker, from a previous life. Also, I'd like to send congrats to all primary school students who are going to take part this afternoon. So primary school students, or maybe now, are doing inter-school sports, and that's a very important part of sporting that we've had over the history of time in Bermuda. And just switching gears a little bit, Madam Acting Speaker, I'd like to send congratulations, and this was an event that I attended a couple of weeks ago, and that is to the Grace Church. Many would know that Grace Church down there on North Shore, which happens to be in Pembroke East, constituency 15. They celebrated 115, I believe, years a couple of weeks ago, and I had the opportunity to attend with my branch chair. And I want to shout out to two gentlemen who were honored by Grace Church for their service, and that is Mr. Gino Brangman, who lives in constituency 15, and forgive me, I forget his first name, but I will go with Mr. Mallory, who was also honored. Thank you, Madam Acting Speaker.
Thank you. Right on the bow. Is there any other member who wishes to speak? I recognize the government whip. Member, you have the floor.
Good morning, Acting Speaker. Thank you for recognizing me. Good morning to my colleagues. Madam Acting Speaker, I would like congratulations to be sent to a very good family friend of ours, and I would imagine you might want to be included once I give the name. It is now Dr. Jonna Pitcher, who has just recently graduated from Liberty University with a doctorate in education and educational leadership. Just for some background, Dr. Pitcher is the daughter of a long-standing party member, Miss Ianthea Butler, and she has recently, I think, been a past chair of your constituency, if that's correct. So I ask that congratulations be sent out. And as I said, I wish to associate you if you wish. Thank you.
Are there any other members who wish to? I recognize the member from constituency 13. Member, you have the floor.
Thank you. Madam Acting Speaker, I would like to be joined in with the member who just said for the congratulations for Dr. Pitcher. Dr. Pitcher is probably one of our finest principals within our system, coming from as an administrator at the preschool level to now where she resides at the Gilbert Institute, which will be closing at the end of this year, but she'll be moving on to another location. She is probably one of the top principals that we do have within our system. Madam Acting Speaker, I'd also like to send congratulations to St. Philip AME, who launched their series of recognizing the matriarchs of the AME Church in Fort St. Philip. And this Sunday was recognition of one, my grandmother, and of my great aunt, Catherine Stovall. It was interesting as I was doing the history for this event to have to go back in memory and remember actually having conversations with my great aunt, who was old enough to have lived in Tuckerstown and was old enough to have been removed from Tuckerstown and helped build not only the church that was in Tuckerstown and eventually destroyed, but the new church that now sits on Harrington Sound Road. So it was an emotional Sunday for myself and my family who attended that service to recognize those two great women who helped build that church and reminisce about their time spent in Tuckerstown prior to being forcibly removed. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you, member. Are there any other members who wish to speak? I recognize a member from constituency 36. Member, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. I'd just like to take the opportunity. I'd like to continue the congratulations that I began at our last sitting for constituency 36 for the musical extravaganza where they honored one of our most outstanding musicians in Bermuda, who's a member of our constituency, Mr. Max Mabry. It was certainly a wonderful time for Mr. Mabry because that week he was also celebrated by Shine Hayward and honored, as well as honored in the Spring into the Arts for the educational school system. So I'd like to congratulate them, and if possible, a letter be written to acknowledge their hard work and the contribution of Mr. Mabry. I'd also like to take the opportunity to offer thanks and congratulations to Reverend Cyril Simmons and his wife, Mrs. Regina Simmons, who are the organizers for the National Day of Prayer, which was held on the grounds of the House of Assembly. And we'd like to thank the team that worked along with them. We'd like to thank the members of the legislature that came for the meeting that was held last week on those sacred grounds. And we'd like to thank our community for remembering the importance of prayer and the power of coming together to lift the concerns of our joint community. Thank you so much, Madam Deputy Speaker.
Thank you, member. Are there any other persons who wish to speak? I recognize the minister from constituency 4. Minister, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Chair. I want to take the opportunity to give congratulatory remarks. If House members are not aware that this month we are recognizing mental health for our youth, and yesterday I had the opportunity to sit in on a youth mental health show debate, and it was debaters, young people who were debating the topic. This House believes that the age of consent to access mental health services should be reduced from 18 to 16. And it was, first of all, I want to congratulate the debaters who had the research, endurance, and courage to come forward with their remarks as it relates to this topic. And they brought forward some very important considerations, being that this month is anti-stigma month for mental health. They were relating the change from adult to 16 so that more youth could have access to mental health services, not necessarily medication or prescription, but mental health services as a whole. And so I want to congratulate the debaters, as there was some involvement with the debate clubs or youth groups, as well as mirrors. And so I want to say a big well done to our debaters, as well as the Office of Youth Affairs, who put on a youth mindfulness fair yesterday. Sorry, the debate was on Monday, not yesterday. But the youth mindfulness fair for our young people, which was put on by the Office of Youth Affairs, was run very well. A couple of members of Parliament, ministers, did attend that event as well. But they had opportunities to do yoga, some mindfulness activities, some therapy through art. And it just, gives us the opportunity to let our young people know, particularly with mental health, that there are other ways in which you can get. I'd like to associate Minister Rebane as well as Minister Adams, who also attended. I think AG also had attended as well. So that our young people have a better understanding of mental health, and that it is, we're not developing these stereotypes and beliefs and perspectives in our mind with people who are having difficulty with mental health. And so it's good to reach out to the young people in that way. So I want to thank all those persons who were involved in planning those activities, and please take the opportunity to contribute to other mental health activities for our youth this month.
Thank you, Minister. Are there any other members who wish to speak on congrats and/or events? There being none, we shall move on. Members, that takes us to matters of privilege. There are none. Personal explanations. There are none. Notice of motion for the adjournment of the House on matters of urgent public importance. There are none. Introduction of bills. Okay, there are none. Notices of motion. There are none. That brings us to the orders of the day, and we will be resuming into the Committee of Supply for further consideration. I call on the Minister of Cabinet Office to move us.
Madam Acting Speaker, I move that the House now resume in the Committee of Supply to consider the estimates of revenue and expenditure for 2025-2026.
It has been moved that we resume into Committee of Supply. Are there any objections? There are none. So moved. I call on Member Lawrence Scott to assume the chair.
Good morning, members. It is with it having been moved. Honorable members, we are now in Committee of Supply for further consideration of the estimates of revenue and revenue and expenditure for the year 25-26. We are now doing Public Works and Environment, heads 36, 53, 68, 81, and 82. This is a 4.5-hour debate starting now. Minister, you have the floor.
Could you read those heads again?
We have heads 36, 53, 68, 81, and 82.
No.
No, I'm just going here. We will be doing public works and environment for heads 36, 68, 79, 81, and 82. And this is a 4.5 hour debate. Minister Adams, you have the floor.
Thank you.
Thank you and good morning, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, I move the following heads: 36, the Ministry of Public Works Headquarters; 68, Parks; 79, Environment and Natural Resources; 81, Public Lands and Buildings; 82, Works and Engineering be now taken under consideration. Just go ready.
Please proceed.
Mr. Chair, today I rise to address this honorable House on a matter that is fundamental to the very functioning, safety, and future of our country. The work and budget of the Ministry of Public Works and Environment for the fiscal year 2025-26. Mr. Chairman, this ministry does more than just maintain infrastructure. It underpins the daily lives of every resident and visitor, supports the engine of our economy, and safeguards the natural beauty and environmental health of our island home. It is the ministry through which we manage Bermuda's most valuable physical and environmental assets and deliver the essential services that keep the country running. The scope of the ministry's portfolio is unmatched in breadth and complexity. Allow me to illustrate the scale and significance of the responsibilities we bear. More than 2,000 acres of public land and over 750 government buildings, carefully managed by the Department of Public Lands and Buildings. These assets hold a combined insured value exceeding $1.5 billion and include everything from schools and clinics to government offices and historical sites. A network of over 600 public roads, totaling approximately 225 kilometers, forming the lifelines of our economy, carrying people, goods, services, and opportunity to every corner of the island. Over 80 public docks and purpose-built berths, critical to our maritime economy, enabling the docking of cruise ships, cargo vessels, fishing boats, and private watercraft, linking Bermuda to the world and supporting jobs in shipping, tourism, and trade. Municipal solid waste collection and disposal for over 60,000 residents and visitors to ensure the cleanliness of our island and maintain the health and welfare of our people through environmentally responsible means. Freshwater reservoirs with a combined storage capacity of more than 2 million gallons, representing one of the most strategically important and scarce resources we possess. The ministry is a guardian of this essential supply. 75 public parks, beaches, school grounds, and recreational spaces, which we not only maintain for public enjoyment, but also protect for future generations as stewards of our environment and biodiversity. And Mr. Chair, I am proud to note that the ministry's growing leadership in sustainability and climate resilience, a responsibility that has become more urgent with each passing year. We are actively undertaking island-wide waste reduction initiatives, including enhanced recycling collection, the expansion of household composting pilots, strategic upgrades at the material recovery facility, and ongoing investment in the Tynes Bay waste-to-energy facility. Green energy infrastructure projects, including the installation of solar PV systems across multiple government sites, the integration of energy-efficient lighting and HVAC systems, and accelerating the uptake of electric vehicles and charging stations. Marine and coastal conservation programs such as shoreline stabilization works, mangrove replanting, and the promotion of best practices in marina and boating operations. Climate resilient strategies, along with the construction of flood defenses, seawall rehabilitation, and investment in sustainable drainage systems. Mr. Chair, the Ministry of Public Works and Environment is a ministry that touches every life every day. From the roads we drive, to the schools our children attend, to the beaches we enjoy, to the rainwater we rely on, the ministry is woven into the very fabric of life in Bermuda. But more than that, it is a ministry that must look forward. The challenges of the 21st century, climate change, rising sea levels, aging infrastructure, resource scarcity, and changing demographics require vision, coordination, and investment. That is what this budget seeks to enable. Strategic investment for long-term impact. Infrastructure is not merely about fixing potholes or maintaining buildings. It is a strategic asset, one that determines how efficiently our economy functions, how sustainably we manage our resources, and how prepared we are for the future. Our investment in infrastructure drives economic growth by enabling commerce, improving logistics, and supporting the movement of people and goods. Supports workforce development, creating skilled and semi-skilled jobs in construction, engineering, environmental management, and public services. Enhances our international competitiveness, particularly in tourism, by ensuring a clean, functional, and welcoming environment for visitors. Promotes equity by improving access to public services and opportunities for all Bermudians. Protects the environment by integrating sustainability into our planning, procurement, and operations, and builds resilience, helping us respond effectively to natural disasters, climate threats, and infrastructure failure. Mr. Chair, this is why, as outlined on page B201, the ministry has been allocated a 6% increase in its overall budget for the 25-26 fiscal year. This increase is a clear and deliberate signal of this government's strong commitment to investing in the core infrastructure and environmental systems that form the foundation of Bermuda's long-term progress and prosperity. The operational budget, also known as the current account, stands at $84,140,000, supporting the day-to-day services, personnel, and maintenance functions essential to the ministry's mandate. The ministry also anticipates generating $16,286,000 in revenue over the fiscal year through fees, service charges, and other sources. In addition, the ministry has been allocated a capital budget totaling $57,327,000. This includes $50,492,000 earmarked for capital development projects, such as major infrastructure upgrades and public works improvements, and $6,835,000 for capital acquisitions, which will fund the purchase of critical equipment and technologies needed to modernize service delivery. This substantial capital investment enables the ministry to press forward with long-deferred infrastructure works, address maintenance backlogs, upgrade essential facilities, and implement transformative environmental initiatives that have been in the planning stages. It reflects not only financial commitment, but confidence in the ministry's ability to deliver results for the people of Bermuda. To support this work, the ministry's established staffing levels for the fiscal year 25-26 is 720 full-time equivalents, showing a reduction of 43. It is important to clarify that this reduction does not represent a loss of jobs or downsizing of the ministry's workforce. Rather, it is the result of a revised and more accurate approach to position budgeting. In previous years, the reported number of posts included all positions on the department's current establishment list, regardless of whether they were actively filled, under active recruitment, or even funded. This approach created a discrepancy between the official headcount and the actual operational staffing levels. For fiscal year 25-26, we have adopted a more realistic and transparent methodology. The revised figures now reflect only those posts that are either currently filled or funded in the process of being filled through active recruitment. This change ensures that the staffing figures presented are more closely aligned with the ministry's true operational capacity, providing a picture of workforce resources and enabling better planning and accountability. Mr. Chair, while we fully acknowledge that the ministry continues to require additional personnel resources to meet the growing demands of our services, this new approach to position budgeting represents a responsible step toward greater financial accuracy and accountability. By aligning the reported staffing numbers with actual funded positions, we are better able to manage costs and balance the books, while still keeping a clear view of where staffing gaps exist. At this time, I would like to express my sincere gratitude to the dedicated team across the Ministry of Public Works and Environment. Your efforts may not always be visible to the public eye, but their impact is felt every single day. Your commitment and service are truly invaluable, and I thank each and every one of you for your continued dedication. Mr. Chair, with that said, this budget represents more than a financial allocation. It is a vision for a stronger, cleaner, more resilient Bermuda, one where infrastructure serves the people, where development respects the environment, and where government leads by example. As stewards of both our built environment and our natural heritage, this ministry stands ready to meet today's demands while preparing for tomorrow's challenges. With that, I now direct honorable members to Head 36, Ministry of Public Works and Environment Headquarters, where the detailed financial and operational breakdown is available for review on pages B202 through B206, page C5, and page C13. Mr. Chair, the overarching objective of the ministry headquarters, finance and administration, is to serve as the central coordinating and support hub for the entire ministry. Its primary function is to provide the essential financial, administrative, human resource, and strategic planning services that enable effective operation of all departments under the ministry's umbrella. These include the Department of Public Lands and Buildings, the Department of Works and Engineering, the Department of Parks, and the Department of Environment and Natural Resources, each of which delivers a wide range of vital programs and public services across the island. From infrastructure maintenance and land management to environmental protection and recreational space upkeep, the success of these departments depends heavily on the efficiency, oversight, and support provided by the ministry headquarters. The headquarters ensures that departmental operations are not only properly resourced, but also aligned with government policy, regulatory frameworks, and fiscal accountability. It plays a critical role in budgeting, procurement, inventory management, performance monitoring, and compliance, helping to ensure that the ministry as a whole functions cohesively and delivers measurable results for the people of Bermuda. Simply put, The ministry headquarters provides the backbone of administrative and financial stability that allows each department to focus on its core mandate, innovative where necessary, and execute its programs with integrity and professionalism. Mr. Chair, the services provided by the ministry headquarters are organized into the following 5 programs, which are found on page B203. 3601, Head Office Administration. 3610, Accounts. 3611, Purchasing. 3612, Telecommunications. And 3613, Central Office Administration. The ministry headquarters total operation budget for 25-26 is $6,620,000, an increase of $293,000, which will be explained later in this presentation. Head Office Administration Program. So this is 3601. Mr. Chair, the Head Office Administration Program 3601 encompasses 3 core components: the Executive Office, Headquarters Administration, and Safety and Health. Together, these units form the strategic and operational nucleus of the ministry, ensuring coordinated leadership, policy implementation, and workforce safety across all departments. Under the direction of the Permanent Secretary, Headquarters Administration provides centralized oversight and management support to the ministry's departments. This includes ensuring that the minister's strategic policy priorities are executed efficiently and effectively. Specifically, the unit is responsible for the implementation of the ministry's throne speech initiatives, the execution and monitoring of the annual business plan, oversight of health and safety compliance, and the coordination of numerous administrative projects and special assignments. In essence, it ensures that the ministry remains aligned with government goals while operating in a structured, accountable, and results-driven manner. Mr. Chair, a vital component of this program is the Safety and Health Office, which plays an essential role in safeguarding the well-being of ministry employees and the public alike. During the 24-25 fiscal year, the office delivered over 12 safety training sessions, totaling 68 hours of instruction, and attended by more than 100 ministry staff. These sessions covered key areas such as workplace hazard awareness, equipment handling, emergency protocols, and site-specific risk mitigation. In addition to training, the ministry conducted a range of safety and health assessments across various operations. These assessments were not only critical in protecting employees as they carry out essential and at times hazardous duties, but also instrumental in the mitigating risks to the general public where ministry activities intersect with public spaces. As a result of these evaluations, new safety protocols and procedures have been developed and implemented, strengthening the ministry's overall culture of safety and operational responsibilities. Mr. Chair, the operational budget for Program 3601, Head Office Administration, for the 25-26 fiscal year is $2,473,000. This represents an increase of $41,000 over the previous year's allocation. The primary drivers of this increase are related to pay scale upgrades for staff positions, including upward adjustments such as from PS grade 20 to PS grade 21, and the implementation of findings from the Management Consulting Services the Management Consulting Services job description review process, which resulted in revised compensation levels to reflect updated job scopes and responsibilities. Mr. Chair, I also wish to take this opportunity to remind honorable members that in February of this year, the government fulfilled its 2024 commitment to place public sector workers ahead of inflation, while helping to offset the financial burden resulting from 6 of the 8 wage freezes endured by civil servants in previous years. This adjustment is reflected across various ministry programs and will be referenced throughout this presentation to help explain some of the budgetary increases detailed. And now I'll move on to Public Works Account Program 3610. Mr. Chair, the Accounts Program 3610 plays a critical role in the financial stewardship of the ministry by delivering a wide range of core accounting services to all operating departments. These services include accounts payable, accounts receivable, payroll processing, capital asset management, and both financial and non-financial reporting functions that are essential for transparent and accountable public administration. This section is responsible for the preparation and distribution of both the monthly and weekly payroll, ensuring that staff are compensated in a timely and accurate manner. It also oversees the issuance of vendor checks and invoices for services rendered by the ministry's operational units. In addition, the accounts program facilitates the collection and recording of all ministry revenues, including payments made by online banking, credit card, cash, and check, ensuring accurate and secure reconciliation of funds received for public services. A key enabler of this program's effectiveness is the use of a centralized government accounting system through which the teams manage the annual budget preparation process and produces monthly financial management reports for the ministry and the budget office. These reports serve as vital tools for informed decision-making, allowing for continuous monitoring and control of expenditures across both the current account and the ministry's capital development and capital acquisition budgets. Mr. Chair, for the 25-26 fiscal year, the operational budget for Accounts Program 3610 is $1,380,000, representing an increase of $119,000 compared to the previous year's budget. This increase is largely attributed to the staff-related adjustments, including the filling of 2 previously vacant positions, which in the last fiscal year were only budgeted for half-year funding, as well as the public service salary increases referenced earlier in this presentation. This investment in staffing ensures the ministry maintains the capacity to manage its growing financial responsibilities, enhance internal controls, and improve service delivery through efficient and timely financial operations. Now on to Purchasing Program 3611. Mr. Chair, the Purchasing Program 3611 provides a critical centralized support function within the ministry, offering procurement services, inventory management, warehousing, and disposal of surplus assets. This program not only supports the operational needs of the ministry's internal departments, such as Works and Engineering, Parks, Public Lands and Buildings, and Environment and Natural Resources, but also extends procurement assistance to external government departments when required. Its role is fundamental to ensuring that materials, supplies, and services are sourced efficiently, economically, and in compliance with government regulations, while also ensuring accountability in the management of public resources. Mr. Chair, in the upcoming 25-26 fiscal year, the purchasing section will undertake a strategic focus on reviewing and strengthening internal controls, operational procedures, and policy frameworks. Key priorities for the purchasing program this year include the creation and enhancement of supply chain related policies, aimed at standardizing procurement practices and improving transparency. The updating of operational procedures and end user guidance documentation to reflect the centralized model and evolving best practices. Closer collaboration with the Accountant General's Department to fully leverage the capabilities of the E1 enterprise system, and the refinement of key performance indicators to monitor performance, track procurement efficiency, and support data-driven decision-making. This modernized approach is expected to deliver long-term efficiencies, reduce waste, enhance accountability, and provide better service delivery across all ministry departments. Mr. Chair, the operational budget for the Purchasing Program 3611 for fiscal year 25-26 is $1,538,000, representing an increase of $69,000 over previous year's allocation. As with other program areas, this increase is staff-related, reflecting pay scale upgrades. For example, positions moving from PS grade 20 to PS grade 21, as well as the previously referenced public service salary adjustments introduced earlier this year to help offset prior wage freezes and ensure compensation keeps pace with inflation. This additional funding will ensure that the ministry is properly resourced to professionalize procurement practices, optimize supply chain operations, and continue to uphold the principles of good governance in the management of public funds and assets. Now moving on to Telecommunications Program 3612. Mr. Chairman, the Telecommunications Program 3612 plays a vital role in the ministry by managing both internal and external communications infrastructure, a responsibility that ensures the seamless operation of government services, public safety, and national connectivity. Internally, the program provides and maintains essential communication tools, including the replacement and servicing of telephone systems and related equipment, and the management of mobile service contracts for staff across all ministry departments. These services support day-to-day operations, facilitate coordination among teams, and enable real-time response for frontline workers in the field. Externally, the program oversees a portfolio of critical infrastructure in the form of 7 government-owned telecommunication towers strategically located at Somerset Police Station, Elton Hill, Warwick Camp, police communications operations in Prospect, the Quarry, Fort George, and the St. David's Lighthouse. These towers serve as crucial communications hubs, not only for government departments, including emergency and protective services, but also, in some cases, for third-party providers that support Bermuda's broader telecommunications network. Their continued operation is essential for both national security and the delivery of government services. Mr. Chair, I am pleased to also announce a significant infrastructure project planned for this fiscal year. In collaboration with the Department of Public Lands and Buildings, the ministry will be constructing a new communications tower in St. David's. This will allow for the relocation of all communications equipment currently mounted on the St. David's Lighthouse, thereby enabling the commencement of long overdue restoration work on the lighthouse itself. A nationally important cultural, I thought you might like that, a nationally important cultural and historical landmark. I will speak to the capital funding for this project in more detail during my remarks on the capital acquisitions. Mr. Chair, The operational budget for telecommunications program 25-26 fiscal year is $807,000, reflecting a $26,000 increase over the previous year's allocation. This increase is primarily due to higher service charges for government telephones and mobile usage. Consistent with increased departmental reliance on mobile technology and external communication systems to support field and emergency operations. This budget ensures that both the internal communications need of the ministry and the external infrastructure supporting island-wide public communications are properly maintained, modernized, and positioned to meet Bermuda's current and future needs.
And for the listening audience, we are on Head 36 of the Ministry of Public Works and Environment with the Minister Josh A. Adams presenting. He's currently talking about telecommunications, which is under line item 3612.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Now that I've finished that section, I shall move on to Central Office Administration Program 3613. Mr. Chair, the Central Office Administration Program 3613, formerly known as the Human Resource Program, was historically focused on direct employee services and personnel management within the ministry. While many of these human resource functions, such as recruitment, employee onboarding, and organizational development, have since been centralized under the Department of Employee and Organizational Development, the ministry continues to play an active and supportive role in several critical areas. Specifically, the ministry retains responsibility for assisting with recruitment processes, supporting employee relations, and coordinating training and professional development opportunities for staff across its various departments. These responsibilities are essential to maintaining a skilled, engaged, and well-supported public service workforce, particularly in a ministry as operationally diverse and workforce intensive as Public Works and Environment. Mr. Chair, the second key component of this program is central filing, which plays a vital role in the management of official records for the ministry. This includes the secure handling, archiving, and retrieval of human resource records, cabinet documents, capital project files, and contracts. Central filing also ensures the preservation and accessibility of records associated with the ministry's legislative responsibilities, ensuring compliance with statutory obligations and supporting transparency and institutional memory. The central filing function is especially important in the current climate of digital transformation, as the ministry works to modernize its records management practices while safeguarding the integrity and confidentiality of both digital and physical records. These efforts not only support operational efficiency, but also uphold the principles of good governance and accountability. Mr. Chair, for the 25-26 fiscal year, the Central Office Administration Program 3613 has been allocated an operational budget of $422,000, representing an increase of $38,000 over the current year's budget. This increase is attributed primarily to two factors. First, the expansion of training and development opportunities for ministry staff, which supports capacity building and career progression. And second, the salary uplifts resulting from the government's commitment to address long-standing public service wage freezes, as referenced in earlier remarks. This allocation ensures that the ministry can continue to support its departments and personnel effectively, and while also maintaining robust administrative systems that are essential to both daily operations and long-term strategic goals. Now, on to subjective analysis of current account estimates. Mr. Chair, I now direct honorable members to page B204 of the estimates book, which provides a detailed breakdown of the ministry's current account estimates for the 25-26 fiscal year. Upon review, you will note a collective increase of $141,000 in salaries and an additional $108,000 in wages, alongside a $68,000 increase in the ministry's training budget. These increases reflect this government's continued commitment to investing in our public officers, not only by ensuring fair compensation in line with revised pay scales, but also by equipping staff with the professional development opportunities needed to grow, adapt, and lead within an evolving public service environment. Mr. Chair, you will also observe an $884,000 increase under the professional services line item. In this context, professional services refer to individuals or entities retained to support public offices in the delivery of programs, projects, and strategic objectives. This includes the hiring of temporary personnel, summer students, local and international consultants, and specialist services providers or firms that possess the technical expertise necessary to supplement our internal capacity. Mr. Chair, regarding the increase of professional services, the ministry is placing a stronger emphasis on ensuring that these resources are strategically deployed and accountability driven. To this end, we will be monitoring the outcomes and deliverables associated with each engagement. This includes clearly defined scopes of work, performance benchmarks, and reporting requirements for consultants and contracted service providers. By doing so, the ministry aims to maximize the return on investment for every dollar spent in this category, ensuring that these professional services do not simply fill gaps, but actively contribute to capacity building, project acceleration, and the successful execution of key initiatives. Mr. Chair, you will further note a $900,000 reduction under grants and contributions. This is not a cut in overall government support, but rather a realignment of funding responsibilities. Specifically, this amount has been transferred to the Ministry of Housing and Municipalities, which now has jurisdiction over the Corporation of St. George's. The associated grant, previously administered under this ministry, was operational in nature and pertained to support for the corporation when it fell under our remit. Revenue summary. Mr. Chair, through the Department of Public Lands and Buildings, the ministry manages the rental of designated parking spaces within government-owned car parks to both public officers and, where available, members of the general public. These spaces are offered at a nominal fee. For the 25-26 fiscal year, we anticipate this initiative will generate approximately $16,000 in revenue. While not a major source of income, it reflects the ministry's ongoing efforts to optimize the use of government assets and identify additional revenue streams that help offset operational costs. Full-time equivalents. Mr. Chair, the budgeted number of employees for the ministry headquarters is 39, as reflected on page B205. No change from the previous fiscal year. Performance measures. Mr. Chair, as outlined on page B206, The ministry headquarters has established a number of key performance targets for the 25-26 fiscal year to ensure continued accountability, safety, and operational excellence. Specifically, the ministry headquarters will anticipate the filing of approximately 12 accident reports over the course of the year. While our ultimate goal is to achieve 0 incidents, this projection, given the ministry's large workforce and broad operational remit, is considered within acceptable safety margins. Importantly, every incident is reviewed thoroughly with corrective actions taken to reduce future risk. Conduct 4 comprehensive safety and health assessments, each followed by the implementation of corrective measures to improve worksite conditions and reduce hazards. Deliver 12 safety and health training sessions for ministry employees, reinforcing compliance with the Occupational Safety and Health Act 1982 and the Occupational Safety and Health Regulations 2009, while promoting a culture of safety and awareness across the organization. Continue to meet government mandated deadlines for public officer performance reporting, ensuring that HR evaluations are conducted in a timely and structured manner. Ensure that new employee records are updated within 3 weeks of the start date, including beneficiary information, training profiles, and other relevant documentation. To stronger personnel management and more efficient service delivery. Maintain compliance with public access to information requirements by ensuring all executed contracts are accurately recorded and published, thereby upholding standards of transparency and good governance. Commence a new series of training sessions focused on procurement best practices. These sessions are being reintroduced following the retirement of a key staff member last year. With a new team member now on board and familiarizing themselves with internal processes, the ministry is positioned to strengthen procurement integrity and efficiency moving forward. Mr. Chair, these performance measures reflect the ministry's commitment to continuous improvement, legislative compliance, and the effective stewardship of public resources. They form part of a broader effort to build capacity, reduce risk, and enhance accountability at all levels of the organization. Capital development. Mr. Chair, turning to page C5, I wish to highlight that there are certain cost centers reflected under the ministry headquarters, which in practical terms are managed by other departments within the broader ministry. While the budget book identifies 5 capital cost centers under the ministry headquarters, it is important to clarify that only 2 of these are directly overseen by the headquarters team. The remaining 3 are managed by their respective departments and will be discussed in detail during their individual budget presentations under the appropriate heads. Mr. Chair, focusing now on the capital projects that are managed directly by the ministry headquarters, the 25-26 capital expenditure plan includes the following allocations under capital development. Cost Center 75050, minor works, allocated $300,000, and Cost Center 75053, miscellaneous small projects, allocated $280,000. These particular cost centers are typically used to fund discretionary community-based projects, small but meaningful initiatives that enhance public infrastructure, improve amenities, or respond to urgent local needs that fall outside the scope of larger capital programs. Examples of such works include minor building repairs, accessibility improvements, fencing installations, landscaping upgrades, and enhancements to public use spaces. Mr. Chair, you will also note a decrease in the allocation for cost center 75050 compared to the previous year. As honorable members may recall, during the mid-year budgetary review in 2024, this cost center received a one-time increase specifically to support minor community projects. That additional funding was fully utilized on targeted initiatives such as landscaping work, fencing upgrades along North Shore, and other small-scale improvements that addressed community feedback and improved the functionality and safety of public spaces. While the allocation for 25-26 returns to its standard level, these funds continue to play a vital role in giving the ministry the flexibility to act swiftly on community priorities and address infrastructure needs that do not require full-scale capital project planning. And now I'll move on to capital acquisitions. Mr. Chair, the total capital acquisitions plan for the Ministry of Public Works headquarters for the 25-26 fiscal year is $878,500, as outlined on page C13. This allocation includes funding for one capital acquisition that is directly managed by the ministry headquarters. Cost Center 76868, Communications Equipment. This allocation will fund the purchase and installation of new communications towers in St. David's. As mentioned earlier in my presentation, this new tower is critical to relocating existing telecommunications infrastructure currently mounted on the St. David's Lighthouse, thereby allowing for essential preservation and renovation works to proceed at the historically significant site. Mr. Chair, while the estimates reflect 3 cost centers under the ministry headquarters, I would like to clarify that only the aforementioned cost center related to the communications equipment is managed directly by the headquarters team. The remaining 2 cost centers fall under the remit of the Department of Works and Engineering, and their details will be addressed in that department's specific presentation. This targeted investment underlines the ministry's ongoing efforts to ensure the reliability of our critical communications infrastructure, while also supporting conservation of Bermuda's heritage assets. Mr. Chair, before concluding, I would like to take a moment to recognize Ms. Elizabeth Smith, who retired this past November after more than 20 years of dedicated service to the ministry's purchasing section. Ms. Smith was a cornerstone of our procurement operations, working diligently behind the scenes to ensure the ministry's needs were met with integrity and a deep knowledge of the processes. Her calm presence, professionalism, and unwavering commitment earned her the respect and gratitude of colleagues across the ministry. She was not only a skilled public officer, but also a generous team member, always ready to support others and share her institutional knowledge. On behalf of the ministry, I extend our heartfelt thanks to Ms. Smith for her exceptional service and wish her a fulfilling and well-earned retirement. Mr. Chair, this concludes my presentation for the ministry headquarters, Head 36, and I will now turn to Head 68, the Department of Parks, as found on pages B207 through B213, and page 6 and page C13.
Good afternoon. Thank you, Minister. Are you opening up for questions now, or are you going to go straight into Head 68, which is Parks?
Yes.
All right.
Mr. Chair, the Department of Parks plays a vital role in the stewardship of Bermuda's natural and recreational landscapes. It is entrusted with the administration and management of protected areas as outlined in both the Bermuda National Parks Act 1986 and the Bermuda National Parks Act Amendment Act 2017. These acts categorize protected areas into 3 classifications. Class A, natural reserves, which fall under the responsibility of the Department of Environment and Natural Resources, and will be addressed in my next brief. Class B, amenity parks, managed by the Department of Parks, and Class C, recreational parks, which are overseen by the Department of Sport and Recreation. Under Class B, the Department of Parks is responsible for 76 amenity parks, which include a broad range of public spaces such as playgrounds, historic forts, landscaped gardens, and the extensive Bermuda Railway Trail, a treasured corridor for walkers, cyclists, and nature enthusiasts. The department's mission is clear and impactful: to deliver and maintain public amenity parks, beaches, forts, and public school grounds, and to cultivate plants for use in areas under the department's remit, to provide safe, aesthetically pleasing, active, and passive recreational and educational facilities for the enjoyment of residents and visitors alike. Mr. Chair, in addition to maintaining these green and cultural spaces, the department also delivers a vital lifeguard service at 4 of Bermuda's busiest public beaches: Horseshoe Bay, John Smith's Bay, Clearwater Beach, and Turtle Bay. These lifeguards are professionally trained and ensure the safety of thousands of beachgoers every year. Beyond parkland and beaches, the Department of Parks also manages a wide-ranging portfolio of responsibilities that includes the landscape and horticultural maintenance of roadside verges and roundabouts, public school grounds, government healthcare facilities, post offices and community centers, historic and ceremonial sites such as Clifton, the Laurels, Montpelier, and Government House. The department is also responsible for plant propagation, cultivation, and upkeep at government properties, supporting Bermuda's biodiversity and contributing to the aesthetic appeal of public spaces across the island. Mr. Chair, the work of the Department of Parks is critical not only to environmental preservation, but also to public well-being, tourism, and national pride. Its contribution to the maintenance and protection of open spaces ensures that Bermuda's natural heritage is accessible, safe, and enjoyable for residents and visitors. As we continue to face the challenges of urban development, climate change, and population growth, the goal of the department remains unwavering: to develop, conserve, and protect open spaces for current and future generations. The value of this department cannot be overstated, and its contributions reach far beyond aesthetics. They are foundational to quality of life in Bermuda. With that in mind, I am pleased to state that the current account expenditure estimate allotted for the Department of Parks for the fiscal year 25-26. Mr. Chair, as seen on page B208, the current account expenditure is $11,547,000, which represents a $1,278,000 increase over the prior year's original budget of $10,268,882, and is broken down into 5 programs. Number 1, Park Services, 6801. Number 2, Lifeguard Service, 6802. Number 3, Park Maintenance, 6803. Number 4, Administration, 6804. And Forts, 6805. So the Park Ranger Service, 6801. Mr. Chair, the first program under the Department of Parks is Program 6801, Park Ranger Service, associated with Call Center 78000. The Park Ranger Service is responsible for enforcing the provisions of the National Parks Act 1986 and the National Parks Regulations 1988. Rangers patrol Bermuda's national parks, beaches, and nature reserves, monitoring the condition of these areas and the activities taking place within them. Their duties include responding to incidents, ensuring compliance with park regulations, and supporting the safe and responsible use of public lands. Rangers also play a key role in managing special events and functions held within the parks, liaising closely with community groups, event organizers, and industry partners to ensure smooth operations and minimal environmental impact. Mr. Chair, beyond enforcement duties, the Park Ranger Service is deeply engaged in community outreach and education. On an annual basis, Rangers support and participate in a range of public service initiatives, including charity walks and cycling fundraisers, CPR, first aid, and AED certification courses, guided interpretive tours for schools and summer camps, organized cleanup campaigns, both scheduled and post-hurricane, and collaborative projects with civic and environmental organizations. The service enjoys strong working relationships with key stakeholders, including the Bermuda Police Service, particularly the Community Actions Team, as well as Keep Bermuda Beautiful, also known as KBB, the Friends of the Bermuda Railway Trail, and the Association of Bermuda International Companies, also known as ABIC. These partnerships enhance the department's ability to enforce regulations and preserve the natural beauty of our parks. However, Mr. Chair, despite these efforts, the issue of abandoned vehicles, boats, furniture, and illegal dumping in our parks remains a persistent challenge. The department continues to work proactively and collaboratively to address these matters and mitigate their environmental and aesthetic impact. For the 25-26 fiscal year, the budget allocation for the Park Ranger Service is $575,000, representing an increase of $77,000 compared to the previous year. This increase is primarily due to the addition of one new full-time position within the Ranger team, as well as the salary scale adjustments previously referenced, reflecting government-wide efforts to ensure fair compensation for public officers. Lifeguard Services, 6802. Mr. Chair, the second program under the Department of Parks is Program 6802, Lifeguard Service, which falls under Call Center 78010. This critical service is responsible for enforcing the National Parks Regulations 1988 as they pertain to public beach safety. The lifeguard service provides trained personnel at 4 public beaches: Horseshoe Bay, John Smith's Bay, Clearwater Beach, and Turtle Bay, and delivers water safety outreach across the island. In addition to their daily responsibilities, lifeguards support community events such as the Bermuda Triathlon, providing essential water safety oversight. They also contribute to the Emergency Measures Organization by offering real-time surf condition assessments before and after storms and hurricanes. Moreover, their training makes them valuable assets during post-storm recovery efforts, assisting with tree felling, road clearance, and general restoration work on government properties and beaches. Mr. Chair, as I've noted previously, enhanced lifeguard coverage at our beaches is urgently needed, particularly as tourism rebounds, and considering recent tragic incidents that have highlighted the vital role these frontline professionals play in protecting lives. At present, the service is largely seasonal, resulting in gaps in coverage during the off-season, which leaves our beaches vulnerable. Despite previous budget increases, the department continues to experience challenges in recruiting and retaining qualified lifeguards, an issue compounded by global shortages in water safety personnel. To address this, the government is taking decisive action. We are reviewing the organizational structure of the lifeguard service. We are updating job descriptions and compensation packages, and we are collaborating with the Royal National Lifeboat Institution to elevate training standards and safety protocols. In support of this commitment, the 25-26 budget allocates $1,520,000 to the lifeguard service, an increase of $818,000 over the previous fiscal year. This enhanced funding will facilitate the recruitment of up to 8 full-time consultant lifeguards, which will be engaged on 1 to 2 year contracts. This measure ensures consistent year-round coverage at our major beaches, while longer-term human resources processes are finalized. To clarify, the additional funding is not simply divided among consultants. Rather, it supports a comprehensive staffing package that includes a consultant pay rate of $30.61 per hour, room and board for all 8 consultants, including any Bermudian hires who meet the criteria, health insurance coverage for these frontline safety personnel, modest pay scale increases for seasonal lifeguards aimed at improving retention, and an expanded contingency budget to accommodate overtime and emergency deployments during hurricane season and other crises. Mr. Chair, this investment reflects the government's clear and unwavering commitment to public safety, workforce stability, and the protection of our residents and visitors. I am pleased to report that the department is in the final stages of securing these qualified individuals, and I look forward to providing this honorable House with formal update in the near future. Now moving on to park maintenance. Mr. Chair, the third program within the Department of Parks is Program 6803, Park Maintenance Service, encompassing 9 distinct subprograms as detailed on page B208. This division employs the majority of the department's staff and is integral to the day-to-day maintenance of Bermuda's protected areas. In accordance with the Bermuda National Parks Act 1986 and its amendments, the Park Maintenance Service is responsible for landscape maintenance and amenity parks, beaches, and associated facilities, sanitation services across the Bermuda National Park system, horticultural upkeep along roadside verges, public school grounds, clinics, rest homes, public offices, post office, and other government properties, including Clifton, the Laurels, Montpelier, and Government House. Additionally, the department's versatile staff provide vital support to the Emergency Measures Organization, assisting with recovery efforts following hurricanes and storms to ensure Bermuda's swift return to normalcy. As such, the section's budget allocations for 25-26 are as follows. Government House and Camden Program, $357,000, an increase of $64,000, reflecting staff reassignments and salary scale adjustments. Maintenance and Development Program, $1,074,000, an increase of $120,000 due to staff movements and salary scale adjustments. Eastern Parks Program, $855,000, a decrease of $148,000, resulting from staff reassignments. Tree Service Programs, $431,000, a decrease of $108,000, attributed to staff movements. Western Parks Program, $1,461,000, an increase of $48,000 due to the staff reassignments and salary scale increases. School Grounds Program, $556,000, an increase of $21,000, primarily due to increased material costs. Tulo Valley Nursery Program, $695,000, an increase of $276,000, reflecting staff reassignments and salary scale adjustments. Botanical Gardens and Arboretum Program, $1,549,000, a decrease of $36,000 resulting from staff reassignments. And the Railway Trail Program, $320,000, consistent with the previous budget cycle. This program requires targeted landscape management, including the removal of invasive species and the introduction of native and endemic plants. Mr. Chair, the department's commitment to maintaining Bermuda's parks and green spaces is unwavering. Through strategic staffing and budget allocations, we continue to ensure that these areas remain safe, accessible, and aesthetically pleasing to residents and visitors alike. Now moving on to administration. Mr. Chair, the fourth program to the Department of Parks is 6804, Administration and Planning, Cost Center 78050. The Administration and Planning Program 78050 is the hub of the department where the operational and organizational functions that underpin the running of the department are conceived and implemented. This section works closely with the superintendents as there is collaboration required on many of the park's initiatives. The administration and planning teams are responsible for the issuing permits to lease areas within the amenity parks and forts. The planning component of this program is responsible for drafting and developing plans for areas within national parks, as well as park planning and design. The drafting of park management plans, the issuance of licenses, and leases for concession operations, in addition to capital project oversight, parks assets analysis, and other key operational activities. Mr. Chair, the budget allocation for this program is $1,371,000, an increase of $53,000 attributed to salary scale increases. Mr. Chair, the administrative section also includes the agricultural exhibition, cost center 78110, which has a $236,625 budget, an increase of $64,607 to help bring this annual tradition to fruition. And now we'll move on to Forts 6805. Mr. Chair, the fifth and final program under the Department of Parks is Program 6805, Forts and Historical Sites, listed under cost center 78080. The Department of Parks is the steward of Bermuda's rich cultural and historical legacy, including the preservation and upkeep of numerous forts and historical sites. These treasured locations are not only integral to our heritage, but continue to serve as popular venues for both residents and visitors. Fort St. Catherine, in particular, remains the most visited fortification and holds special significance as part of the UNESCO World Heritage Site in the town of St. George. Recognized as one of the top cultural attractions in Bermuda, Fort St. Catherine is especially appealing to history enthusiasts and continues to generate strong interest for events such as weddings, guided tours, and educational visits, with bookings already secured for the 25-26 fiscal year. To preserve and promote these important sites, the department will continue to collaborate with key stakeholders, including the Bermuda Tourism Authority and other local partners, to enhance marketing efforts, to improve accessibility, and ensure proper maintenance for these historical assets. In support of these efforts, a total allocation of $541,000 has been set aside for this program in the 25-26 fiscal year, a modest increase of $23,000 from the previous year. This increase will fund staff training initiatives and salary scale adjustments, enabling the department to strengthen its capacity to protect and showcase Bermuda's cultural heritage. Before I move on, Mr. Chair, it would be remiss of me not to mention Mrs. Francine Trott, a relative of my honorable colleagues from the eastern end of the island and a dedicated public servant whose career has left an indelible mark on the Department of Parks, particularly within the Fort section. Mrs. Trott has served the department with distinction for over 30 years, bringing not only a wealth of knowledge and experience, but also a deep sense of pride and care to her work. Her commitment to preserving and maintaining some of Bermuda's most treasured historic sites has been nothing short of extraordinary. Throughout her tenure, she played a vital role in ensuring that our forts, which are symbols of Bermuda's rich history, remained safe, accessible, and well cared for, not just for our residents, but also for the hundreds of visitors who walk their grounds each year. Beyond her technical contributions, Mrs. Trott has been a mentor and a source of steady support to her colleagues, always willing to share her knowledge, offer a helping hand, and take pride in a job well done. Her presence within the department will be missed dearly. On behalf of the Ministry of Public Works and Environment, I extend our heartfelt gratitude to Mrs. Francine Trott for her decades of dedicated service. We wish her all the very best in her retirement. May it be fulfilled with health, happiness, and the same sense of purpose she brought to her work each and every day.
Thank you, Minister. And for the listening public, we are on Ministry of Public Works and Environment. Well, it is a 4.5-hour debate, 5 heads, 36, 68, 79, 81, and 82. We have just completed the second head, which is 68. And I believe that the minister is going to go on to head 79.
Not quite, Mr. Chair.
Oh,
Not
so-
quite. Almost finished.
I was too slow on the last one, too fast on this
Yeah,
one.
yeah. We'll get it right. We'll get it right. Mr. Chair, I now draw honorable members' attention to page B209, which outlines the ministry's current account estimates for the 25-26 fiscal year in detail. Upon review, members will note a collective increase of $171,000 in salaries and an additional $306,000 in wages. These adjustments reflect this government's ongoing commitment to fair compensation and investment in our public officers, particularly in recognition of their dedication and the increasingly complex demands of public service. Additionally, Mr. Chair, there is an additional $800,000 increase under the professional services line item. As previously discussed, this allocation is tied directly to the engagement of consultant lifeguards, which forms a critical part of our strategy to strengthen beach safety. This targeted use of professional services represents not only a strategic response to staffing shortfalls, but also a proactive approach to enhancing public safety during a time of growing tourism and increased beach usage. Department anticipates full-time equivalents. Mr. Chair, the budgeted number of employees for the Department of Parks is 132, as reflected on page B210, a decrease of 1 from the previous fiscal year. As previously noted, the reduction in the reported number of posts does not indicate job losses or downsizing, but rather reflects a more accurate and transparent budgeting approach. Unlike past years, the current figures include only filled or actively funded positions, providing a more realistic view of the department's true staffing levels and supporting better planning and resource management. Performance measures. Mr. Chair, as outlined on page B211, the department has set forth a series of key performance targets for the 25-26 fiscal year to guide service delivery, ensure legislative compliance, and reinforce our commitment to operational excellence across all program areas. For the park ranger service, the department anticipates the following: the issuance of 45 camping permits within our parklands. This represents a slight increase of over 24-25 when fewer permits were issued. Approximately 460 special permits for large-scale events, again an increase from last fiscal year, reflecting greater demand for park-based activities. A forecast of 180 incidents reported across the park systems. While this number appears high, I am pleased to note that only 40 incidents were recorded in 24-25, and the projection accounts for expanded reporting and monitoring. 10 interpretive tours are planned for the year. This is double the 5 conducted last year, with the previous reduction largely due to increased private sector offerings by local tour operators. With respect to the lifeguard service, lifeguards are expected to provide coverage at 4 public beaches, with potential expansion depending on the number of qualified seasonal applicants. While 54 water resources were performed while 54 water rescues were performed in the last fiscal year, we are working to reduce this figure through enhanced public awareness, increased preventative measures, and better compliance with safety guidance. We will also continue to monitor and respond to metrics such as preventative actions, minor and major first aid treatments, with the goal of minimizing risk through proactive engagement. For park maintenance operations, the department will continue delivering high-quality landscaping, sanitation, and horticultural services across parks, beaches, school grounds, and other government properties. I am pleased to report that the team consistently met its performance expectations throughout 24-25. Mr. Chair, these performance indicators reflect the department's ongoing efforts to promote continuous improvement, enhance public safety, and uphold accountability. They serve as measurable outcomes tied to our broader mission of preserving Bermuda's natural and recreational assets for the enjoyment and well-being of all. And capital developments. Mr. Chair, for the 25-26 fiscal year, the Department of Parks will undertake several important capital projects that reflect the government's continued commitment to enhancing Bermuda's public spaces and infrastructure. To support this, the department has been allocated $1.2 million under the Park Improvements line item 75101, as outlined on page C6. This funding will be used for a variety of infrastructure upgrades, including repairs to the Kinley Field boat ramp at Stone Crusher Corner, improving access and safety for the boating community, installation of a temporary lifeguard station at Horseshoe Bay to enhance beach safety during peak periods, repairs to the Tulo Valley Government Plant Nursery Greenhouse, which supports the propagation and care of flora used across public lands, renovations to the Cacti House, Exotic House, and Visitor Center at the Botanical Gardens to improve visitor experience and preserve these vital assets, and replacement of playground and outdoor exercise equipment at various locations across the island to support healthy recreation and public wellness. Mr. Chair, I also wish to address the long-standing issue of the department's administrative headquarters. Since 2016, the department has been operating from a temporary space on the first floor of Global House in Hamilton, following the deterioration of its previous facility. This current location, while functional in the interim, is not fit for the operational or administrative needs of the department. As such, the government has allocated $500,000, also found on page C6, to continue the design and planning of a new purpose-built headquarters and maintenance facility at the Marsh Folly site. This project represents a strategic investment in the department's long-term capacity and will ensure that staff are housed in a modern, efficient, and purpose-designed environment that enables them to better serve the public. And finally, capital acquisitions. Mr. Chair, under capital acquisitions, cost center 76474, vehicles, as outlined on page C13. there is a reported allocation for vehicle purchases. However, as with previous years, whilst this cost center appears under the Department of Parks, it is important to clarify that the Department of Works and Engineering is responsible for managing and executing this line item. As such, further details regarding this allocation will be provided during that presentation. Mr. Chair, this now concludes my presentation for the Department of Parks Head 68, and I will now turn to Head 79, the Department of Environment and Natural Resources, as found on pages B214 through B22, C6, C13, and C19.
Thank you, Minister. And for the listening public, we have just concluded the second of 5 heads. We just finished head 68, and the Minister is now going to go to head 79 under the Environment and Natural Resources. Minister?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, it gives me great pleasure to present the budget for Head 79, the Department of Environment and Natural Resources, found on pages B214 through to B221, C6, C13, and C19 of the approved estimates of revenue and expenditure. Mr. Chair, starting on page B214, the mission of the Department of Environment and Natural Resources is to protect Bermuda's environment and responsibly manage its natural resources. The department's objectives comprise to provide strategic direction and management in the formulation and implementation of the legislation, policy, and standards to protect Bermuda's environment, to reduce negative impacts to Bermuda's natural environment, biodiversity, natural resources, and marine heritage, to increase the island's food security and local food production, to better ensure the survival of threatened species and habitats, to improve human care and protection of animals, to improve the quality of Bermuda's ambient air and water quality, and to improve care and appreciation of Bermuda's natural environment and marine cultural heritage. To meet these objectives, the department has 14 business units, as shown on page B215, each of which comprise of a varied complement of skilled officers. The business units are as follows: 89000 Administration, 89010 Marine Resources, 89020 Marine Conservation, 89030 Marine Heritage and Health, 89040 Marine Enforcement, 89050 Terrestrial Conservation, 89060 Veterinary Services, 89070 Animal Control, 89080 Plant Protection, 89090 Agronomy, 89100 Pollution Control, 89110 BAMS Administration, 89120 Aquarium and Zoo, and 89130 Museum. Mr. Chair, on page B216, you will note that the department's total budget allocation is approximately $9,148,000 for the 25-26 fiscal year. This represents an increase of $279,000 or 3% when compared to the original budget of the previous year. This increase is due to the increase in salary and wages and energy costs, as well as the hiring of a new temporary assistant for the Marine Resources section. Mr. Chair, The subjective analysis of current account estimates is found on page B216 and includes the following. The total salaries for the department is shown on line 1 and is an increase of $135,000 from the fiscal year 24-25. Wages is shown on line 2 with an increase of $121,000, an 11% increase. The total of salaries and wages represents 79% of the department's budget. Professional services is shown on line 9 and is $276,000. This budget provides funds for the overseas consultant agronomist and to undertake specialized environmental related scientific studies and monitoring to address various pollution and fisheries issues. Energy is shown on line 13 and is $494,000. This is the same allocation as the previous year. It's noted that high energy costs are required to energize the numerous buildings managed by the department, inclusive of the Bermuda Aquarium Museum and Zoo, as well as the Agriculture Services Center. I would note that significant efforts have been made to reduce energy consumption throughout the department where possible. Both the department headquarters and the BAMS have significant solar installations, and the BAMS also has an integrated energy reduction plan that they have been implementing for several years. An audit of energy usage across the 5 sites and other buildings of the department is recommended to ensure that the benefits of solar installations and other cost-saving measures are maximized. Grants and contributions are shown on line 18 in the amount of $230,000. These funds account for the grant to the Bermuda Institute of Ocean Sciences to address some of the requirements of the Clean Air Act. Further explanation will be provided under grants and contributions. Mr. Chair, these increases to salaries have been offset where possible with savings from building rental for a satellite fisheries warden. Mr. Chair, revenue summary. Mr. Chair, the department's revenue summary is found on page B217. The department generates revenue from a variety of licenses, permits, services, and other fees, including licensing of dogs, lobster and fishing activities, water rights, clean air operating licenses, crop storage fees, and daily visitor admissions to the BAMS. The department's projected revenue is estimated to be $1,374,000 for the 25-26 fiscal year. This estimate represents an increase of $6,000 and when compared to the original estimate of the 24-25 fiscal year. An analysis of the projected revenue includes the following. 8253 admissions is shown on line 2. Admissions are projected to increase by $38,000 over the original estimate from 24-25. This increase is attributed to revenue expected from an upward trend in entrance fees into the Bermuda Aquarium Museum and Zoo. Several other revenue cost centers are expected to decrease slightly, and these will be explained as part of the forthcoming performance measures discussion. However, of note are the reductions of lobster divers license by $21,000 or 33%. This is reflective of a decision to reduce the number of licenses to show signs of significant, this is reflective of a decision to reduce the number of licenses to lessen the pressure on Bermuda's lobster population, which continues to show signs of significant stress, and to help this important resource recover. It is noted that the expected reduction in dog license revenue across the Bermuda Post Office counter in 8495 of $40,000 and associated increase in expected revenue collected at the department head office dog licenses reflects the transition to the GovPilot online license payment system that is currently in the process of being beta tested. Manpower. Mr. Chair, the department has 79 full-time equivalent posts as shown on page B218 of the approved estimates of revenue and expenditure. This remains the same as for the original of last year's budget. Currently, the department has 10 funded vacancies. Priority to fill the following funded posts this year include Fisheries Warden, Accounts Assistant, Administrative Officer, Plant Protection Officer, Veterinary Officer, Marketing Manager, a Marine Enforcement Officer, an Environmental Engineer, an Agronomist, and a Collector of Marine Specimens. The department is in the process of identifying a trainee agronomist to provide critical services to our farmers after the previous trainee resigned in November of 24. I also note that the department continues to modernize numerous job descriptions throughout the department's organizational structure to accurately reflect operational need and priorities. Capital development expenditure. Mr. Chair, the capital expenditure budget for the department can be found on page C6. The department has 2 active capital accounts focused on minor works. Project 75271, minor works for the environment and natural resources, is a capital minor works budget of $150,000 that will provide for the general maintenance and upgrading of the headquarters facility and plant protection laboratory located in the Botanical Gardens. The Coney Island facility for marine resources management and enforcement, the Government Agricultural Service Center in Prospect, the government kennels, and improvements in the 200 acres of government-owned nature reserves and associated buildings managed by the department. Due to the need for specialized facilities and educational displays, $100,000 has been allocated to the Bermuda Aquarium Museum and Zoo for repairs to exhibits and life support systems. This is shown in Project 75236, Aquarium Refurbishment. This includes minor repairs to ensure the continued operation of the zoo and aquarium. Mr. Chair, I am pleased to announce that $2,500,000 has been allocated to continue the ground investigation work for the Replacement Agricultural Services Center. This is shown in Project 75367. I can advise that at this time, a new replacement center has been designed and received full planning permission. This funding will allow for the completion of the project's contract and preparation for the new site adjacent to the current facility. I look forward to briefing this Honorable House on this and other important agriculture-related projects that are aimed at providing important support to our farmers and bolstering the island's food security. Mr. Chair, I am also pleased to announce that $1,750,000 has been allocated towards the implementation of the Master Plan 2025 to 2038 to improve and transform the Bermuda Aquarium Museum and Zoo. This is shown as 75371, BAM's Master Plan Infrastructure. All right, there we go. Got one happy customer. Mr. Chair, the department has traditionally engaged local entities to undertake specialized studies, such as the Ambient Air Quality Program through the Bermuda Institute of Ocean Sciences. The funding for the Ambient Air Quality Monitoring Program can be found on page C19 as 7006 BBSR Air/Water Quality Study. The grant for $230,000 will enable the department to meet its monitoring requirements mandated by the Clean Air Act 1991. I can confirm that 7 monitoring stations are currently being installed in areas around the island, including in the vicinity of Belco, to monitor the island's air quality. I will elaborate on this in due course. Output measures. Mr. Chair, while we complete the tabulation of the output measures for the Department of Environment and Natural Resources can be found on pages B219 to B221 of the approved estimates of revenue and expenditure for 25-26, I will endeavor to highlight some of the measures of note. Mr. Speaker, as noted on budget page B219, 24 protected species permit applications for research licenses were issued to local and international researchers within 5 working days in fiscal year 24-25. This is higher than the 7 issued for 23-24 and perhaps reflects the need for greater understanding of our local biodiversity. Research topics included a wide gamut of interests, including surveys for reintroduced captive bred endemic land snails and Bermuda skinks, cave mapping, as well as collecting and identifying marine cave dwelling species, and surveys on non-native freshwater crayfish in local wetlands. Work continued to determine the status of our leafcutter bees, potential sea level rise impacts to caves, collection of terrestrial plant seeds, and ret detection in the landscape using artificial intelligence. All of these were paid for by our project collaborators at no cost to the government. A number of invasive pest species continue to have a negative impact on Bermuda's ecology and farming sector, as well as being nuisances to the general public. These are predominantly bird species such as feral chickens, pigeons, and crows. However, the department is also addressing increasing numbers of complaints from other species such as rabbits and guinea pigs that have been released into the wild. The department removed over 6,000 pest species for 24-25 which is down on 23-24 at 8,000 species. Marine resources noted on budget page B219. Sustaining our local fisheries is paramount. In the fiscal year 24-25, the Marine Resources section continued to successfully manage the licensing of our commercial finfish and lobster fisheries and the recreational lobster and spearfishing fisheries, as well as providing support to the Marine Resources Board and the Commercial Fisheries Council. Work also continued on data collection for the spiny lobster, guinea chick, and black grouper research programs, including a pilot spiny lobster recruitment study. The section also maintains compliance with our membership to the International Commissions for the Conservation of Atlantic Tunas, as well as providing support to the Sargasso Sea Commission. Additionally, the Marine Resource section served as the department lead for several specialized projects, including the Bermuda Ocean Prosperity Program and the UK Blue Belt Ocean Shield Program. Some of the achievements under these programs during the past year are the completion of the final draft of the Bermuda Prosperity Plan for Bermuda, which includes a marine spatial plan and a Bermuda Blue Economy strategy, the preparation of a cabinet memo to seek government approval for a Marine Development Act that will enable the Marine Spatial Plan and promote sustainable use of Bermuda's marine environment.
Minister,
Yes.
I am actually very riveted in what you're talking about because in another life I wanted to be a marine biologist.
Good.
However, it has been brought to my attention that we are approaching the 12:30 mark, so I will leave it up to you to find a place to leave off, and then you can move the motion to take us to lunch.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I will be 1 minute. The finalization of a stock assessment for the red hind fishery, the development of a new online platform and mobile app designed to modernize fisheries data management in Bermuda, actioning of the 24-25 work plan for the Bermuda Belt Ocean Shield program that is strengthening marine enforcement and compliance alongside maritime domain awareness, and the development of data sharing protocols for a ship rider agreement with the U.S. Coast Guard to assist with monitoring Bermuda's waters for IUU fishing. Mr. Speaker, I think at this moment, Mr. Chair, I move at this moment, I stop here for lunch, and so I move that we break for lunch and return at 2 p.m.
The motion has been moved. We go to lunch and come back at 2 p.m. Any objections? No objections? We'll break for lunch.